galáxia, planeta meu. ¿Dónde está mi baby, baby? ¿Dónde está mi baby? ¿Dónde está mi baby, baby? ¿Dónde?
How you guys doing? My name is Josie Carr. I'm an electronic musician, producer, and NYU educator for electronic music production and music software. Today, this will be the second part on how to control your scenes and your sections with the Maschine software as a plugin using an external controller. Let's do it. Cool. So we'll be using Logic for this example. This could be done in any digital DAW that you may have, Pro Tools, Ableton, anything you may have. I've loaded up a instance of Maschine here on an instrument track. But like we did first, we have to make sure that we've set up our external keyboard to our computer correctly. I have it hooked up via USB cable, and the next thing I want to do is go into Logic's preferences and go on the MIDI, shortcut, Command, comma, and let's get in there, right? And then we have to go to the input tabs and make sure that whatever controller you're using has a check mark next to it, so Logic understands that it will be the one that you'll be using for it. In my case, I'm using the Axiom 49 here. Port 1 is a USB, and port 2 are my MIDI inputs, by the way, in the back. I have a few controllers that you guys can see, but this is the one we'll be using today. Once that is set up, if I were to hit my keyboard, you guys can see that it's hooked up. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now let's open up the instance that we have, the plugin instance that we have. And the same way that we did in the standalone version, we're going to go to the menu right here. We're going to go to Edit. We're going to go to MIDI change right there, and we're going to set up the scene, and we're going to set it up to MIDI note. Program change, by the way, does not work in the plugin version. You can't use it. It is stated on NY's or Native Instruments website. I'm going to set it to MIDI channel 1. I know that my keyboard is outputting MIDI information on MIDI channel 1. So if you don't know which channel it is, make sure you look through your whatever information came with your keyboard, so you'll find out what it is. Normally it is defaulted to MIDI channel 1. Cool, so I'm all set now. If I were to hit my keyboard, you guys can see that I'm able to switch between the scenes, and I'm going to hit play just to show you guys as well. On here, let me play this. And you guys notice that when I hit the keyboard, it quickly switches between scenes. It doesn't give me no time. I don't have to wait for anything. It just really and it starts the next scene from the very beginning. The reason for that is by going up to the main part here, the transport area. And if we click on here, I have it set to off, which means that when I trigger scenes, it doesn't matter where I am as far as time is concerned. And it's just going to start to play as soon as I hit it. Okay, retrigger means that it will start to play whatever scene I hit from the very beginning of it. You know, if you're very good with timing, or you're not playing along with any band, or you're not playing along with your song, it's a perfect way to perform. Okay, you can set it to musical values. So if I set it to 16th note, for example, it's going to start the next scene or every 16th note. So if I were to play it, so it's a little bit better. It keeps me in time. And if I were playing along with a track that I may already have, let's say, for example, sequence here, it would keep me in time, musical time as well on it. Retrigger simply means, again, that it will start the next scene from the very beginning. If I take that off, it's going to play a little bit, right? And when I switch over, it's going to continue playing from wherever it was at. So for example, it was at beat number 2, and when I switch to another one, it's going to catch up to that one and play it. Okay, so those settings are important. So how you trigger scenes, all to say that. So now let's do the same thing that we did for triggering with an external keyboard to scenes. Let's do that instead for the sections of a song. So I'll turn this one off, and I'll go to MIDI note, and I'll put it to MIDI channel 1. All right. And now if I were to hit play, it switches right to the song section, so you guys can see that, right? Which is great. Now, if I wanted to use both of them, I can trigger both of them. If I wanted to trigger both of them, I can do that, okay? And the way that I do that is, for example, I have a controller that is a multi-channel controller. So basically, I can control up to, I think it has it has 4 parts, so I can control up to 4 MIDI channels at one time. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to edit, MIDI change. And in this case, I'm going to set this one to MIDI channel 2. So it'll be part 2 on my keyboard. And the first one, I'll set it to MIDI note, and I'll set that to MIDI channel 1. So MIDI channel 1, part 1 of my controller, will control the scene changes. And MIDI channel 2, or part 2 for my controller, will control the changing of the sections of a song. Okay, let's close that out. And I'll put this one on MIDI channel 1. On part 1. Okay. And you guys can see that it quickly switches over to the scenes. I'll play it. Okay. Now if I wanted to change the song sections, I go to part 2 on my keyboard. And you guys can see that it switches to my song sections. What are the benefits of having that? The benefits of having that is, for example, if you were performing and you wanted to start your show and you wanted to try some ideas, let's say maybe turn this off here, okay, and just kind of freestyle, right? Let's play it here for a little bit. Okay, fantastic. And let's play it. And now you can switch to your regular song that you had arranged already. Okay, which is a cool way. Bad example in my case, but there's a pretty cool one I did on the first part that you guys can see. So the idea behind having those 2 options are you can start your show freestyling and maybe playing the different scenes in and out in a cool way. And then maybe you have your song arranged in the sections part of it. And then you can trigger the sections and it will continue to play your whole arrangement out. Pretty cool ways to perform. I hope that has been helpful. That is how you're able to trigger your scenes and sections in any digital DAW. I just happen to use Logic using an external software, or an external keyboard. And it doesn't have to be a keyboard. It could be any type of controller. And as I always do, I'll give you guys a quick rundown on how it's done. Okay, first thing, connect your keyboard. Second thing, go into preferences right here, MIDI. Make sure that in the input tab, it is checked so that Logic understands that it will be being used. I'm using the Axiom. Make sure you know what MIDI channel your keyboard is outputting MIDI information on. Load up an instance of a Maschine and an instrument track, which I've done here. Next thing, click right here, go into edit and select MIDI change. And if you want to trigger the scenes, then click on it, set it to MIDI note, set it to whatever MIDI channel your keyboard is outputting on, and hit close. If you have a multi-channel controller, then set the second one to a different MIDI channel. Or if you have an additional controller, make sure that that is also set up in the preferences, and then you can set that one up as well. Okay, let's close that out. And now that's all you do. You can switch between parts without having to use the Maschine controller. And you can actually record this, by the way. Just hit record and record it. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. My name is Josie Carr. Please stop by, spread the news, spread the love. Please hit the subscribe button so I can do more videos for you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Ciao for now.